Well, the main characters are derived from five different mythologies: Nordic mythology, the Vikings; Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Hinduism, and the Navajo Native Americans. Yeah, I was really trying to kind of come up with a few different ones. I was very familiar with Norse and Greek, as I said, so I felt I could talk about those gods pretty well and choose a good character to focus on. I was reasonably familiar with Egyptian, and but I really just thought it was really unique and colorful, and I wanted to try to talk about it. I was not as familiar with Hinduism, and since it's still active, I really had to sort of do my research and figure out the right way to do it without having a lot of angry Hindus at my door the next morning saying they wanted to talk to me. And with Navajo again, I had to do that was further research, which unfortunately was a bit harder to find because there wasn't as much actively available about Navajo mythology, especially since they're in a completely different part of the country. But I really wanted to try to find at least one god from each group that I felt was unique enough to write about. I'll wait for the plane. And once I had that, I think the challenge was really trying to make them feel human and relatable because obviously you think of a god, you think of something that's up there and kind of hard to understand and hard to fully comprehend. So my challenge was really just trying to find five gods that I could actually make human and make people feel connected to. And hopefully I succeeded. If you come by and pick it up, you can let me know. I'm over. Oh yes, I'm over at tent number 3. So if you want to stop by, please do so.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Felicia Harris. I am the author of two keepsake books. The first keepsake book that I created is titled The Makings of Me. I created this book after my husband said he wished he had more details about his mother's life prior to her passing away. She passed away when he was only 16. So, they thought they had all the time in the world. But some things didn't come up in conversation. There are things about her that he doesn't know, but he wishes he knew. So I came up with the idea to create this book to prevent that problem for others. So if everyone fills this book out and passes it on to their loved ones or their younger generation, then no one will have to say, I wish I knew more information. So I did the hard part. I came up with the questions. All you have to do is fill in the blanks. And this book only retails for $14.99. The second book I created is called The Makings of Us. So the makings of me and the makings of us. The makings of us is for couples to complete as a bonding experience to bring them closer, to reminisce on their journey when they started, and to establish where they are going together. So the makings of me is for parents, grandparents, individuals, anyone. You don't have to have children to fill out and pass on as a lifelong keepsake. And the makings of us is for couples to fill out together. Each book is $14.99, and I have a sale: buy 3, get 1 free. And they make for a great gift for any and everyone. Thank you.
Big turnout. Excellent. So I'm a science fiction writer. I wrote these 2 books. These are the books I'm selling today. Uh, I've been disturbed, like a lot of people have been, about climate change and about how little we seem to be able to do to stave that off. So my novels basically are kind of about the decline of the earth as we go on and what humankind is doing about it. This first one is about 2 environmentalists who come back to our century from the 23rd century to try to fix it, because by that time the earth is basically a bog of poisonous gas and you can't even walk outside without a suit. So they come back to our century to try to fix it. In the ensuing adventure, it turns out one of them is a homicidal maniac, and she kills a bunch of people. The other guy is a good guy, and that leads to the second book, where the protagonist actually escapes to the moon, where we have a big dome, and 5,000 people live on the moon under this dome to escape what's happening on the earth. Unfortunately, where humans go, trouble follows, and so there's crime and there's drug addiction, but there's a happy ending, honest to God. For this book here, I used as my science advisors, a group of 12th graders in the Philadelphia public school system. They go to a magnet school called the Science Leadership Academy. These are kids who are very much interested in science and technology. Their teacher happens to be my brother-in-law, and he used to work for NASA doing power sources and kind of the things that would need to happen to power spaceships in space. So between him and these two students, they gave me a lot of good background information that puts the science in the science fiction book. But there's also plenty of fiction and plenty of fantasy. And when you write science fiction, you kind of have to walk a line between science and imagination. That's what I try to do here. So the hardback editions are each on sale back in 10.4 for $12 each. I also have softback editions for $9 each. And I appreciate you guys checking me out. Thank you very much. All righty.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Moyers, and I'm the author of Till All These Things Be Done, which is a historical novel that will be published by She Writes Press on September 13th. So it's not out yet, but it's right around the corner. The novel is loosely based on an intriguing chapter from my own family history. It tells the story of Leola Rideout, a young woman grappling with her father's disappearance in 1919, and how that mystery unravels across her lifetime. Set against the rich but troubled history of Blacklands, Texas, during an earlier age of pandemic and social turmoil, it's a universal tribute to the heart's resilience in the face of daunting odds. I hope you'll come visit me at booth 2. I'm doing a giveaway, and I'm doing the drawing in 1 hour. So if you haven't signed up for the giveaway, it's free, obviously. And there are 4 winners, and I'm drawing in an hour. So make sure you come to booth 2, enter my contest, okay? Soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, here's my book. Thank you.
My name is Debbie Green, and I'm the author of The Convention of Wives. It's my debut novel. First of all, I want to thank Renee. I don't know where she is, but I was here first really early and a pain in the neck to her, so I'm sorry. Linden is my hometown. I grew up here. And it's really nice to be here today. Things kind of come full circle. This is my first book fair, so I'm assuming this is a message from up there that I should be in Linden today. It's really wonderful. So The Convention of Wives is a novel about friendship, about marriage, about the challenges within both. And it tells the story of 2 women, Dina and Julia, over a 30-year period of their lives, from young motherhood until their marriages have gotten them into middle age. And it's really about the challenges within their friendship and within each of their marriages. It's a contemporary story, and it raises issues about family and identity and what is important after all. And it also is a historical novel because it flashes back into the 1800s and tells a story about each woman's family and how they came to the United States. And there's a mystery there and a connection between the two that neither is aware of. So that story unfolds as the novel unfolds. I wanted to briefly read a selection. The novel is available for pre-sale over there at my booth, and I'm giving a discount today, but you can also just go on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or you can go to your local indie bookstore and ask them to order it for you. So it's widely available. Okay, here we go, and then I'm going to pass this on. Meeting Rob seemed forever ago as her breasts leaked in response to Daniel. The holding, touching, feeding, her arms, her hands, her breasts, every part of her demanded by the children, her husband, every minute of the day. She was losing the constant struggle to maintain sovereignty over her own body. After a quick visit to the kitchen, she settled on the rocker with Daniel on her lap. He fussed and struggled momentarily, and then shockingly began sucking on the bottle of formula. "Thank you," she whispered, looking at the small tufts of hair forming on the crown of his head, smelling his delicious baby scent. She sang Joni Mitchell's Both Sides now to him softly, calming them both. He stopped eating and looked up at her. She was in love, perhaps a bigger love than even she and Rob had. Then Daniel's face scrunched into that of the old man he would someday become, as she felt the heat expand in his diaper. "Thank you, Joni." She changed him quickly. The nursery clock read 2 a.m. when she realized that some of this was within her control. Not much, but some. She turned the bottle, eyeing the ingredients label: lactose, maltodextrin, ultimate sin of motherhood, my ass. She'd managed to take a small part of her life back. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am the author of My Heart Speaks. My name is Winifred Uri, known as Winnie. This book is a short book. It's both poetry and prose. It has only 4 entries. The first 2 are poems and the second 2 are prose writings. The first one is dedicated to my granddaughter, who will be starting her 2nd year of college in September. And in that dedication, I write to her, always believe, exercise your faith, and trust in God. And the poem is a lyrical poem. The first poem is dedicated to her. It's called A Poetic Letter to My Granddaughter. And it's a lyrical poem because it talks about feeling and emotions, and I'm encouraging her to live her dream. The second poem is Black Womanhood. It's 8 pages of 7 lines each, and it's a rhyming poem. It's a narrative. It tells the story of Black womanhood. But of course, I couldn't tell the whole story in just 8 pages. So it's an overview. The third writing is called Black History. That's similar to what you call an acrostic poem. I took the letters of the words Black History, the first letter of each word, each letter in each word, rather, and started a description of what Black history is. I'll just try to randomly pick a letter and see what it says here. K, I'll take K. K is for the keeping of strong family ties, to assure the foundation of African American children, to inspire them to righteous living, future leadership, and the achievement of success. And the last writing is called Sunrise, Sunset. That's also prose. It talks about how I thought about my husband's sunrise and sunset after he died. And then I moved on after realizing who I am and what God has enabled me to do. And I thank God for his tender mercies in my life. Thank you all. Oh, and you can get this book at my website, www.winuri.com, WINEURE.com. At Ex Libris is my publisher. It's a self-publishing company. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eileen Sanchez, Eileen Harrison Sanchez. I grew up in a town not far from here, Clark. I used to come to this library as a high school student, which was a long time ago. My book is titled Freedom Lessons. It's a novel. It's historical fiction. The story takes place in 1969, 1970 in a small southern town in Louisiana where schools were still segregated in 1969. The story is about that year when the Supreme Court made a final decision that all schools needed to be integrated or they would lose federal funds. And so this school that the characters tell you about was closed overnight in the middle of November. So school starts in August. That was quite a challenge for the teachers and for the students. It's based on my own experience. There's 3 characters, 3 points of view: a white teacher, a black teacher, and black high school student, an athlete, a football player. And so you learn about what the mandated integration was like in the South. Growing up in New Jersey, things were a little bit different. They continue to need to change. But so this gives you a a point of view, particularly from the high school students' point of view, about how when the seniors moved into the white school, they had lost their student leadership opportunities, the sports positions they had on the football team, the basketball team, baseball team. And you really start to understand the impact of that event. So I have, as I said, it started out as a memoir. And as I wrote the memoir, I realized that there was so much more to the story that I needed to do a lot of research. And I found some dissertations. I interviewed people from the South. I went back to the town that I worked in and taught in. And it just taught me a lot of things. When I was preparing to talk about my book, it came out 3 years ago, the publisher asked me to come up with the important points. And that I realized that, well, what are the freedom lessons? So I'd like to read what the freedom lessons are for me. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Have courage to confront uncertainty, intimidation, or danger. Family provides security, identity, and values. Prejudice is taught and learned. And it takes individual actions to create social change. And those freedom lessons, I believe, are I took them from the characters as I wrote them in the story. So I hope you take a chance and find out about my book. I'd also like to just say, it was a day like this, second chapter of my book, the character goes into the diner and got some iced tea. So you can come over and get a iced tea bag from me. It makes a quart, not a cup, so you have to read the recipe. And this afternoon I'll be doing a workshop on raising readers, getting our kids hooked on books. I'm not a children's book author, but I am an educator. I worked in public schools for 40 years. And so it's a part of my platform to really talk about kids' books and the diversity that we need to find in books. So I hope you'll come and see me inside. It's air conditioned at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
We have the mayor of Linden here, Mayor Armstead, and I just want to say again personally thank you to him and the city of Linden for opening their doors to the IABX. Give them a round of applause for that. Yes. And he just wants to say a few words. So.
And it'll be a very few. First of all, sorry that I got here late, but I was told as I got here that I wasn't late, and I guess my arrival I was so fortuitous because I met this lovely lady as we both got at the table at the same time. So I'd like to welcome you all here to Linden. It's your 9th annual Independent Authors Book Expo, so we'd like to welcome you here. We all know that reading and writing is a very good thing. I'd like to write a book myself one day. Okay, tell you how I became the mayor, how we got here. I'll call it. And it will be I think it'll be a bestseller if you listen to, if you read it. So anyway, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you all coming to Linden, and look forward to having you again if you so desire.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Godfrey, the author of From Depression to Destiny. It's my faith journey, how I came to writing this, how I come about writing this book. It's a memoir of my life, how I was raised, and coming from Guyana, a country where I was born, and coming to United States. How life was for me after immigrating from Guyana to United States. Some of the challenges I had, going to school, from high school to college, living with my parents, working at home, working on my own, finding independence. This book has helped me to overcome my fears, overcome my fears, my doubts, and help me to stay positive. How to have focus in my life. And today I bring you this book to just give you a little nutshell of how my life developed. I had in my family I had we are 10 of us, 10 siblings, 7 brothers and 3 sisters, and my mom and my dad. And we all didn't live in the United States for most of our lives, but we came here and we work and we make success the best, work hard and we achieve the things we achieve. Some of us have homes, some of us have have a family, and through it all, we made it because we had faith. Faith started from home. My parents always taught us how to pray when we wake up in the morning, how to pray, and to help us to have a good day. And we also had those ideas of living in the community, respecting the elders in the community. Many of you know that how our community is today is not how it used to be before. We were raised like a village taking care. It takes a village to raise, the to raise a child. So I was raised on that. Today we see a lot of our young people are moving away from that. We don't have that good relationship that we had with our family, with our neighbors, with our family, and we are a little chaotic. We're not so happy with how. But from my experience, I can tell you how I was able to live through it was because I had faith in my mom. I had faith in my dad, my neighbors, my friends, and they helped me to come through, to go through college because it's not that I feel I couldn't make it to college. I could, but I had to have faith in God and believe in God that God would bring me through and respect those elders in the community, supporting the seniors in the community. Those are things that I was raised on, helping someone, who needs help. Having a positive self-image of yourself and helping others to have a self-image of themselves too helped me to come a long way. Today with me is my wife, my beautiful wife, Devine, who helped me to co-author this book. And I'm pleased that she's here. She's going to share with you what part she played in putting this book together and helping me to just find my destiny. Find my destiny. Destiny for me meaning having the right friend, having the right situation to get into. Sometimes you go out there or you at home, you're thinking, what should I do? What should I do for tomorrow? You don't know tomorrow. You don't know yet. None of us know whether we're going to make it tomorrow. We don't know, right? But by faith, and having that supply, we know that we're going to see a next day. We have that hope that we're going to see a next day. We're going to have the very best of our lives. And we have that because we have that faith. We make it through. And for me, I thank God that I can make it through. I thank God that I have friends. I thank God that I have a wife who supports me, who loves me, who I can love, who I can share when she's having challenging time. I can help her, I can support her. And for me, this means a lot that I'm able to write this book and I can talk to young brothers, young friends who I meet who's just going through tough time, helping him or her how they can get through their life too and make life a success, that you don't think of things, in a negative way, but you have that positive outlook and you make it. You make it and you make it, and I know you can. I know many of the people here today that are promoting their book have the similar idea that they're trying to get out to you, that they are persistent and they work hard and they made it. And today I would like to introduce to you my wife who helped me to co-author this book, From Depression to Destiny. And she will share with you our journey in this book, how we made it. And thank you all for listening to me. And I hand it over to Devine, who is my wife, wonderful wife. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, wonderful husband. Okay. Yes, please. Okay. All right. So I want to thank
Sister Renee and IABX for having us here, Sister Ruth, and the whole team. It's really a pleasure and it's an honor to be here. And I want to congratulate my husband, Godfrey, on his first book, first of many. He worked so hard on this book. You know, I remember during the pandemic, and so he works in the Bronx, and we live in New Jersey, so that's quite a commute. It's like almost 2 hours to go and almost 2 hours to come back home. So when the pandemic came and everything shut down, and he had to do school from home, then there was like 4 hours in his day where he did not have to travel. And he said to me, "Do you think I could really write this book?" He had all of these writings stacked up. And I said, "Do you think I could write?" I'm like, "Just write the book," you know? And when the pandemic came, that was the perfect opportunity. I said, "Listen, now is the time to do it." Those 4 hours that you spend traveling, that's the time to write a book. And he was really committed to it, you know. I mean, even the portions of the tech and all of that, you know, he needed the assistance he was behind me like, "David, can we do this now? Let's get this doing now." And so even though I started the train going, he just put the fire under it, and I commend him for that. The other thing I wanted to emphasize was his trust in me to write the wellness chapter of the book. Now, after Godfrey's depression diagnosis and the help he got, the medical help he got, that's when I met him after all of that, right? So I did not go through that depression journey with him. And so after we met and he knew what I was about in the medical field, and I started to explain to him some of the things I do, then he started to use some of the tools that I share with my clients. He said, "This thing is really helpful, girl, you know, this thing is good." And so when he was writing the book, he did ask me to put that. So I have a chapter, the last chapter of the book is dedicated to that. But I want to read an excerpt, not of my work, but really and truly the core of him having this diagnosis and sort of the people who brought him over the hump. And yeah, that's what I want to read right now. And the title of it is Panic Attacks, Diagnosis, and Hospitalizations. Leading up to my emergency room admission were times when dealing with tough issues, situations, and reflections made me afraid and panicked. I felt like I was in a frozen state. One evening, I had a very strange experience while walking home. I had just left my sister's house via a route that I took every day, but this time it was getting dark. I saw a group of men who I believed were strangers in my neighborhood. The men stared at me. Why? I did not know. Mindful that there were crimes taking place in the city, I kept my distance and quickened my steps. That moment was very scary for me. I wasn't happy at all about what was happening around me. I had no friends close by, and the blocks were long with dark streets. I felt alone. The men's looks were unpleasant, and I thought they were out to harm me. Why? I did not know. I started running home, and when I got there, I shared my terrifying experience with one of my brothers and my mom. I knew that I had done nothing wrong to anyone, but when I saw those strangers looking at me, I got scared and confused. In retrospect, I remember having a lot on my mind at that time, and this could have contributed to some of the fear I was experiencing. My mother and sisters prayed for me that evening, but even though they meant well, it was somehow difficult to forget what had happened. I started to tell myself that I needed to overcome this fear on my own. I told myself that I was not the first one to have fears. Many in the Bible had fears, and I just needed to be strong and talk with others. I did not want that panic moment to happen again. However, it was difficult to forget that night, and I continued to have more and more panic attacks until I was eventually diagnosed and began to receive treatment for severe depression and anxiety disorders. Although I received medical help that day when I broke down, I had to go to the emergency room, I am still convinced that the most important thing that contributed to my healing was that I looked to my faith. It was during the time when I was hospitalized in the psychiatric unit at the hospital that I gained a better understanding that I was chosen by God for a reason and that I needed to serve Him. I would go on to be hospitalized on another 3 occasions for relapses from this condition. Being in a hospital for treatment was no joke. I felt like I should not be there and wanted to leave right away. But I really needed the help and had to be there based on the doctor's findings. It is my submission to receive help from the medical professionals that helped me to be able to return to work and function effectively on the job while taking care of myself and my family. During my hospital stays, my studies and journal writings intensified. I knew that these writings were a way for God to help me to be delivered. History was made on those hospital wards, but it was obedience that brought the blessings, Deuteronomy 28:2, and faith that catapulted me into a life of destiny which no man, woman, or child can take away from me. God has done it, and my victory is sealed with the blood of Jesus. Praise God.
Thank you, Devine.
Thank you.
Such an awesome representation of where I was in terms of health, depression, and God brought me through. And also my wife. She is the one that really helped me to make it. And you know what? Today you might be at a place where you feel you're alone. Or you never know what tomorrow going to be. But if there's anything in what was read to you could be used to help you, use it. You know, knowledge is important, you know, and we take advantage of that. Thank you so much. God bless.
Hello, everyone, and thank you guys. Hi. Thank you guys for coming out. This is my 2nd year at the IABX Expo, and I'm an inspirational author. Right now I have a poetry book that is dedicated to women and mothers. I have a inspirational essay book, but my main book right now is A Season of Disruption, which is a memoir. And this book really speaks of the struggles in my family's life, a particular event when a disruption changed our futures. And it is a Caribbean heritage story. It speaks of, again, when there was a tragedy in my family and my mother was forced to make some unmanageable choices. And thank you. And some unmanageable choices. And the main choice that she really had to make at the time was that my father passed away unexpectedly. And she was fairly young, and her children were fairly young. We were between the ages of 15 and 8. And she made the choice at the time to leave us, not with someone, but by ourselves, because no one else would take us. And so she left us by ourselves, and she made the journey to the U.S. to make a way not just for us to come, but to make a way, she said, to set a foundation and a legacy for future generations. And so this book really depicts the parallel journeys of 5 children growing up by themselves, and then a mother, struggling to set that foundation, and then takes you through both journeys and bring you back to today, where we've come back together and looking through those years, and then looking at where we all are today and how it all turned out. So that is a season of disruption. And as I said, I started out writing poetry. And so what I'll read for you is actually a poem that is the preface to this book, and which really speaks to the emotion and what was felt in the situation and in writing this book. And it's called Tomorrow. Yesterday I laughed, today I cry. What will tomorrow bring? Yesterday was filled with joy, hopes and dreams soon to be fulfilled. Today, there is pain and dissatisfaction. Failure and losses abound. Yesterday, I climbed to the mountaintop. Today, I tumble to the valley below. But tomorrow, I must begin my climb again upward, remembering yesterday and today, recapturing hopes and dreams, never repeating failures, laying down burdens, finding a pot of gold, sharing experiences, creating a future from the past and the present, realizing that life is a mixture of good and bad, winning and losing, ups and downs, yesterday and today, believing that there will come a tomorrow. So really the premise of this book and of this story is that obstacles are going to happen in your life. They're going to come. You can't stop that. But overcoming them really motivates not just yourself, but it encourages others to do the same and even better and to soar. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First, I want to say thank you to God, because without him, I would not have this vision. Secondly, I would like to thank the Independent Authors Book Expo for inviting me and for me being here. I would like to start off with introducing myself and then talking about the reason why I published this book. So I am Jasmine again. I am now a certified life coach and a new author. I work in the mental health field where there are individuals who can't advocate for themselves. So I feel that that is my job and my purpose, to advocate for those who cannot advocate for themselves. I decided to publish a self-help workbook because I was going through a very, very dark time. I was very low, very depressed. I've lost two very important people to me. They died 11 days apart. So I had, oh God. Okay, sorry. I lost two very important people to me, 11 days apart. And then a couple months after, I lost my job. So I had to find jobs here and there part-time, but now I am employed. So I wrote this self-help workbook because I decided to write a self-help workbook instead of a novel because I wanted everyone to do the work for themselves. The title is Getting to Know Yourself, Do You Know You? And no matter how old we are or what stage in life we are, there's components in our lives or about ourselves that we don't know. So these are questions, simple questions. This is for anyone, any age range, from a toddler, if you can read, to 100 years old, pretty much. They're simple questions, and you just answer the questions, and the purpose is for you to read your answers aloud, because a lot of the times we don't know what we are thinking. So you want to read your answers aloud to hear, wow, like this is really what I'm thinking or what I'm going through. And it just gives you the moment to like figure out where you need help and where you want to grow. So my self-help work is called Getting to Know Yourself, Do You Know You? Volume 1, and there's 2 more coming. So, and I'm located at Tent 4. So, Jasmine, thank you.
Thank you for coming out and for being here today, whatever brought you here. So my name is Kevin Cornelio. I publish under the pen name KT Cornelio, and I'm here to discuss my first novel, my debut novel, Awoken. So Awoken is the first book in a series I'm writing about the highly sensitive life. This story and the series as a whole is a work of literary fiction, which means that it is a character-driven story. And this particular story follows not one or two, but actually a diverse group of 7 different point of view characters. And they range all over the map in terms of different ages, races, genders, sexuality, ability levels, even different species, if you could see some of them here. So with each chapter of the book, readers spend a day in the life of each of our characters in turn as they strive to overcome their unique set of challenges, confront their fears, heal from past traumas, forge new relationships, and really live their lives as a highly sensitive being. You heard me mention the term highly sensitive life, and what that refers to is being a highly sensitive person, as the term is coined, which really speaks to this experience of just living life and experiencing life very intensely. Some of the characteristics are characteristics I've experienced throughout my life, even though I didn't know the term until recently. But I've always had the experience of being very sensitive to things, whether it be sensory input like loud noises, bright lights, and strong smells, or emotions my own, but also the emotions of others. Highly sensitive people tend to be very empathetic, sometimes empathic. Other traits that go along with it involve being very connected to the arts, deeply moved by music, by poetry, by literature. And so to experience life this way is not so easy. I struggled and suffered in silence for a long time and really rejected these parts of myself. Basically tried to change myself, to get rid of the sensitivities that I didn't feel were right, were cool, were the way to be. And after a number of years, it culminated in me burning myself out, stressing myself out, developing eating and exercise disorders to the point where I lost a third of my body weight and almost lost my life. And it took all of that radical experience to wake me up to who I really was, to how I was supposed to be living, and to really embrace those parts of myself. And so that's what led to me writing this story, to really channeling my experiences, my thoughts and beliefs into these characters, into this story, and giving representation of all different dimensions of life, all different levels of life, and all different ways we can experience life, whether you're highly sensitive or not. So this is my book. I'm very excited to be here for the first time, and hopefully you guys can stop by and say hello. I am in tent 5 back there, and I would love to chat with you, so please come and say hi. Thank you all.